Hi guys, and welcome to another chess game analysis video. And today we'll be taking a look at perhaps one of the best chess games ever played, really. It was played in 2017 by two super strong Chinese grandmasters. On the white side, we have Bai Jingqi, currently rated at 2571, and on the black side, we have current number 3 highest rated player in the world, Ding Liren, rated currently 2788. So these guys aren't really to be messed around. And yeah, let's just get into the game. Game started with d4, yeah, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, and bishop to b4. This is the Nimzo-Indian defense, very popular opening, especially among higher rated players. It's an hyper-modern opening. And what does this mean? Basically, black allows white to get the center with his pieces, like occupied by pawns. However, he claims that he can later attack it with and undermine the center with moves like c5, and yeah, exploit these pawns and the pieces that are occupying and controlling the center as targets. Often, it obviously isn't that easy, but let's just see how the game plays out. The game continued with knight f3. We have the 3-knight variation. We have castles, and we have bishop to g5, also pinning this knight. And now, indeed, black starts with the undermining plan, because he goes for the standard c5 break. We have e3, just reinforcing the center. We have a trade, takes with the queen. We have knight to c6. Queen goes back, just retreating. And Ding starts hitting the bishop. The bishop goes to h4, and now at any moment when he wants, he can go for d5, break the pin, and free this knight, really. But first, we have d5, trying to already counterattack on the center. Bai replies with rook to d1, develops the rook, brings the rook to the center, always a nice move. And indeed, Ding goes for that g5 plan. He breaks the pin because after bishop to g3 the knight is not freed, and he jumps right into e4. The Nimzo-Indian plans of staying behind are over, and is now just jumping into action. He's trying to stack on his pinned knight, trying to create some problems and some tension in white's camp. We have knight to e2 by Bai, breaking the tension and just trying to get the knight trade in. Best move. However, Ding retreats, he attacks Bai's queen and he moves it to c2, just retreats. However, Ding now continues to put the pressure. He goes for d4, hitting the knight. And if this pawn were to be taken, this knight would get in, attacking the queen, and Bai doesn't want that. So instead, he goes for the best move, plays knight f3. And thing is, where is this pawn going now? Because he's hitting the pawn and the pawn is completely pinned. The pawn is just stuck. So Ding, seeing that, he just defends it. However, there's a small problem in this position, right? Because he defended, however, he missed that there are two pieces attacking that square. How can a super grandmaster miss that, right? Bai just plays knight takes pawn, and Ding takes the knight. He takes the knight. And do you see the bar going crazy? The bar is now rethinking its choices, because after the rook takes the queen, which is the obvious move, Ding goes for the pawn takes pawn, right? Check. And now Bai replies with king to e2. And now the bar just dies, because now the rook takes rook on d8. And look at Ding's pieces. Ding's pieces are just positioned perfectly for a monster attack, for a monster king hunt. King has no shelter here, and he's just going to be very exposed. Because white now takes the pawn, he eliminates this again, always never-ending threat of the promoting pawn. However, now Ding just never stops from here. He goes knight to a4, he seizes the initiative, and now it will be very tough for white to hang on. Because after knight to a4, Bai just moves his queen, we have queen to c2, Ding goes in, again this line is completely cut off, king really shouldn't go to the e1 square, because he would be on the line of fire of the bishop and bad things would happen. So instead he goes to f3. However, Ding plays rook to d4. Just brilliant move. I mean, because this move is not one of those moves you play just because if it takes the rook, you just win a queen. It actually has a purpose. He's threatening to push the pawn. Because take a look at White's king. White's king is completely boxed in, has no moves. If Black had a second move, he would just push the pawn. The knight would take, the bishop would take, and it would be mate. It's just perfect. Yeah, White is completely paralyzed. Now, buying the game just tries to stop this threat. He goes h3. However, Ding just calmly plays h5, renewing the threat. Fortunately for Bai though, his h2 move comes with another idea, because he vacated the h2 square, and he can now play bishop h2, and the king has another small little tank of oxygen to breathe in, because after g4, the king can go to g3. However, we have rook to d2. I even get voice cracks from this. It's just unbelievable. Because again, the rook is untakeable because of the fork on e4. And the purpose of this move is that, take a look at this. White's queen has to leave this diagonal. Here is the knight, here is the rook, here's the rook, here's the knight, here's the bishop, here's the pawn, and here's the king. Literally half of Black's pieces are participating on this action alone. It's unbelievable. And after something like queen b3 that was played in the game, knight can go to e4, and the king then continues. We have king to h4. Now we have bishop to e2 to e7. Just continuing the hunt on the king. It never stops. Ding is already too far into this. He cannot hold back. He sacrifices the pawn. We have king takes on h5, and Ding Liren just calmly plays king to g7. And take a look at this. The bar is just going nuts. Even Stockfish doesn't know what the hell is going on sometimes. It's just incredible. He's claiming that he can take his bishop out, bring his rook, and murder White's king. It's just unbelievable how extremely well Ding Liren's pieces coordinate in a position like this. It's just really a piece of art. And now by Jinchi tries going bishop f4 with the idea of going bishop h6 and maybe acting as sort of a mid shield for white for the white king. And yeah, by Jinchi is just praying that they can somehow find a way to get his king out of the onslaught he's sentenced to. Really look at all these pieces. However, Ding just calmly continues with his plan. He goes bishop f5. Indeed, we have bishop to h6, and the Chinese Giga chant just calmly sidesteps with his king. And now, Bai just doesn't buy it. He goes the queen takes on b7 and says, "Okay, I'm attacking your rook. I'm attacking your knight. If your knight is to move, you lose your bishop. Your attack is falling over. I think I'm coming back. You have just messed up." However, Ding just doesn't stop. He had all this figured out. Because rook to f2. And take a look at this. By removing the f2 pawn, he's now threatening to go knight to g3. For example, if queen takes rook, knight to g3 is actually checkmate. The bishop covers this bishop eats this pawn. It's just perfect. Bai, as basically a 2600 player, sees this, so he goes bishop to g5, and now if you were to check, the king now has the h4 square, right? It's blocked by the bishop. And yeah, as you can see by the bar, you kind of messed up. So instead, in the game, Ding probably plays rook to h8. He literally doesn't care. He has all the time in the world. Because even after what happens in the game, after knight takes f7, eating the rook, now the king can just simply slide sideways and mate him. Ding still has bishop to g6, and yeah, it's basically a forced mate now. The king is just in an amazingly well set up web mating net, basically, and it's just over. Because now White's king has two options, right? If he takes the pawn, which is what happens in the game, Ding has knight to e5, which he finds, and now White at this point resigned the game. But if he were to take the knight, Ding could just check him on the f5 square and force the king to the h file. After going to the h file, you can just choose. You can go king to g8, and after bishop blocks, you have knight to g3 mate. Right, right. Just look at this. Look at this. Every piece just working together fantastically. Or you can even go king to g7, and yeah, after blocks you take with the rook. So it's your choice, really. However, if you don't take the knight, and instead you go like king to h4, now you can play king to g8, and black is basically forced to take your rook, and after taking your rook, he deflects the protection of the bishop, and is dead. Right now, take a look at this again. All these geometrical positions arising are just fantastic. And it's important that you go to g8 square, because if you go to g7, the knight would take your rook, and now you couldn't take the bishop and mate him because you are pinned. And this would definitely be something Ding would cry over, right? And also, to wrap up, if the king didn't take the pawn, it was basically the same idea. You'd go king to g8, the knight would be forced to take the rook, you take the bishop, and after king takes pawn, you bring the knight, and yeah, that's basically it. Just again, this beautiful configuration happens, and the king is just completely stuck. I mean, even this pawn helping the king, helping set up this amazing mate, is just unreal. So, yeah, it's a really fantastic game, but I'd probably consider the game of the decade, right? From 2010 to 2020, and might have a shot for one of the most beautiful played games ever, really. But that's just my opinion. I'll try to bring similar games to these on the future. Hope you guys liked it, and yeah, catch you on the next one.